Attention! Go!
Big noise as both crews take off cleanly in this final of the Princess Grace. There's Ilo Luik and Fue Avukohu in the three-seated stroke seat of the composite Thames and Neptune Rowing Club crew away. Freya Quito at 2 and Claire Frierick at bow, just being warned to steer across. Claire has the steering shoe in this crew. Nice correction from her. Super composed. You can see at 2, Freya Quito making some calls to the crew to stay calm and row their own pattern.
Yeah, and that was great, wasn't it? Again, we see the challenge of that, of steering on that Buckinghamshire station. It's been particularly challenging, I think, this year, and this crew have managed that very, very well. And they were quick yesterday, and watching their times to the barrier, we saw they were a couple of seconds quicker than the Leander. Conditions were up and down, but let's see how we go today. I think this is going to be a cracking race.
Yep, so probably the crews have compared their times to the barrier and to Fawley, the first 2 key markers in this race here as we're looking at the faces of the Leander crew. They'll know that they're in for a close race, that the opposition have a couple of seconds faster times, but it's hard to read with very, very changeable conditions. We have them today, we've had them all week.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to race in the Princess Grace a few times when it was just first introduced to the regatta, and it's fantastic to see the legacy that has created and the number now of women's events that we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a privilege, Sarah, for me, particularly to be able to commentate on the 3 new women's 8s events. This Princess Grace is in its 20th year, and the regatta is really now opening up the option of the best women to compete at every level. Women's rowing has hugely developed in the last 20 years or so, and the depth and strength of the female athletes we've seen here is as inspiring as anything, and I'm just so excited to see the future names to go on those trophies, whether it's the Princess Grace, the Wargrave, the Island, or the Junior Women's 8s.
Yeah, of course, I umpired the Diamond Jubilee this morning and watched those 8 scullers, fantastic, and now I'm sure they're going to be watching the screen now, because they'll be looking at this race and thinking perhaps that could be me in the future. And look at this, we thought it was going to be close, and it certainly is. It is stroke for stroke, bow ball to bow ball.
This has the makings of an epic race. You don't often see crews this tied together, really. We haven't seen one up or the other up at any point in the race so far, and look at the focus on those faces. That takes all the training, all the experience, all those ergos in your garden shed that we've all been having to do over recent months. Those things now all need to be redeployed in the simplest possible way. And Sarah, you mentioned you've raced in this event, racing in a quad at Henley. What do you need to be thinking about in order to perform?
Well, I was lucky enough to have Catherine Granger sitting in front of me with her foot on the steer, so I actually had to just make sure that I sat in the 2-seat, and I was making sure that the crew knew what was happening, but also we were sticking to our race plan, making sure we got the right rhythm. You know, it is a longer course than you're used to, over 2,000 metres. It's so exciting to race here with the crowds, and that is really important.
And we're just noticing the umpire Fiona Dennis here warning the Thames and Neptune crew on their steering. Again, this is the point of the course we've seen a number of crews have trouble. If you wished for Catherine Granger to be steering you, that would be a great privilege. But here it's Claire Frierick in the bow seat of this crew with the steering cable attached to her shoe, just making that correction and making sure that the crew stays really, really focused. We can see Fueri Oboku in the 3-seat there, just making a quick call to her stroke. Ilo Luik as Leander sits. Nice line from Leander, completely consistent along the booms, and we should mention these 4 young women from Leander who are rowing a really calm race.
Yeah, and look at their faces, it really is calm. You can see a slight glance from the stroke girl, just knowing what's going on. I suspect 2 or bow will be telling them where they are in the positions, but they are really relaxed, they're really together, and I like the way they're moving at this boat with their legs.
Yeah, and you know, you're setting up the boats from the bows there. I'm just watching Catherine Maitland in the bow seat there. Quite often the person at bow in a 4-person boat really does kind of give the platform to the rest of the athletes, and the way you row is critical to that. But here we go, it's still a really close race. Thames and Neptune on the left of our picture, Leander on the right. From this angle it's hard to call, and I think if you're sitting in that boat you're aware of what's going on alongside you. You don't want the heads to go around to find out more what's going on. I would be looking up at the signals boards to see from the numbers that are put up by the operatives there exactly what the distance is.
There is no distance. I mean, that is the answer. They are side by side again. This is a fantastic race. Thames and Neptune on this side. The blades tell us that also Twickenham is in there in the boat as well. Only 2 names allowed in the Henley programme, and they have had a fantastic last 30 seconds, and they've started to move again.
Yeah, I think it's quite a decisive push by the Thames Neptune composite crew here. That quad is starting to accelerate away from Leander. We've seen a very, very calm race from Leander so far. Have they got a change of pace? That's the question that's being asked of them now, where you can see a bit of grit going on as there's a clear push coming. You want to move and then move again and then move again, and that's what they're doing.
And I used to really love racing on the Buckinghamshire station here, because you get into this point of the course and you have crews along the booms, and they are so close to you, and they are rowing fans and rowing supporters. They are right by your left hand, and it really can lift you, and it has lifted this crew at this stage.
Yeah, well, the sport is lifting us all, and the spectators, as you say, they're here. They've been here since 1839. I mean, not the same people, obviously, but boats have been along the boom since 1839, and that is really lifting the crews. Well, Leander are responding strongly. They have answered the question. They have got a change of place, and this is being deployed. I think, it's bow ball for bow ball.
Yeah, isn't this amazing? This is what you have to do. You can maybe hear a call or sense a call and realise that this is match racing. You cannot let the other crew away. You have to make sure that you respond to that move and trust your training. The hours in the ergo, perhaps the hours on the water in the more recent months, and trust that you can do it. And the real key in the quad, in an 8, in anything, is make sure you do it with your crew members. Move together and you get the feedback.
Well, the lead has changed hands probably about 4 times in the last 30 seconds as they surge and surge and surge. Neptune and Thames the composite crew had the edge for a moment. Leander are now responding, and Leander are moving quite well through. I think they're starting to ease out towards maybe a canvas of advantage, and Leander are now showing strain on those faces. Calm for the first half of the race, pain for the second.
Yeah, there is pain, but there is still that calmness. You can see the stroke girl there just pushing and looking and just checking where they are on the water, ensuring that they are in the right space. And this is going to be incredible. Looking at that Leander, they're picking it up well still and pushing it on, but they're just going to need to row it in your station now, in your lane, Leander. The race is on.
Yeah, they're going into their own heads as they focus on the process. The pain doesn't allow them to process much else. Leander having the edge over Thames and Neptune as they come to the final stages. Leander have stretched out that lead. It's just a canvas overlap, and they're looking for clear water in the last 20 strokes of this final of the Princess Grace.
Oh, absolutely incredible. Yeah. Cat and mouse all the way, and then Leander on this last bit up the grandstand. They had the crowds coming to them. Baby Remington was supporting the other crew at Remington, now here in the grandstand. Leander are getting support, and they've responded.
They closed their eyes, they pushed their legs, they gritted their teeth, and they pushed through in the last few 100 metres. What a race. Leander take the Princess Grace in an amazing race over Thames and Neptune, composite crew from Ireland.
Oh my goodness, look at the bow girl, her hand over mouth, almost shocked, where in the moment, in the process, they've got the result.
The elation and the devastation in one picture, that is what rowing is all about. We love it. Thank you both for giving us an amazing race. That memory will stay with all of these 4 young women for a long time.
Leander Club, winners of the Princess Grace Challenge Cup, but I can see on your faces, this is a good feeling right now. That was a very good race. Talk me through what was being said in the boat through enclosures.
Not very much, just a lot of goes, a lot of nows. There's a lot of energy. I think we just kind of saw our opportunity and took it, and then it kind of, Cordy was leading it from the stroke seat, and then everyone else was just going, and then once you've got the crowds going, it just takes care of it. Because
it was incredibly close. What goes through your mind when you've got a crew literally neck and neck, stroke for stroke next to you, in such a unique environment as Henley Regatta?
I think going into it, we'd watched how they'd raced with the regatta and kind of knew they'd have a really good middle bit. And in my mind, at least, I was thinking if we can sit with them, our finish is good. Like, we haven't had a chance to really show it off yet. And if we get the opportunity and take it, then we can get the win.
And Catherine, first win for you at Henley Regatta as well. How much does it mean?
I mean, I can't put it into words. I think, might be my last Henley Regatta, who knows. Got some uni to go back to and do all that. But just to get to do it with these guys, and we kind of put this project together in 2 weeks and got thrown together at the last minute. Nobody was really expecting anything from us, but we've just gone out and kind of taken it by the chin. Is that a saying? I don't know.
We'll take it by the chin.
With whatever, and just gone out there and gone from strength to strength each session. And I'm so proud of what these guys have pulled together.
You took it by the scruff of the neck. I think that's
the phrase I'm looking for. There you go.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank
Cheers.
you.